Kanye West plans on destroying the music industry on June 15th by exposing their biggest secret. Kanye is releasing the album he already leaked, Bully, on June 15th. Kanye West will state that when he released this album, the rollout for the first week's sales would be exposing the pay-for-play model that the industry currently thrives on. Kanye West believes that when he does this, he's going to go against the industry. He's going to expose how flawed the system is, and he's going to make the environment a safer place for Lauryn Hill to drop a new album. What Kanye West is about to do, only Kanye West is crazy enough to do it. We've seen other people talk about the pay-for-play model and critique it. We haven't seen anyone who has revealed that they are about to go the lengths that Kanye is about to go. Not too many rappers is even rich enough to do this, and not too many rappers is motivated or care about the culture enough to do this. If Kanye West goes through with this, bruh, to me, this would change the landscape forever. Because this would expose that everything we see is a lie. Everything we hear is a lie. A lot of people have been skeptical when they hear about this conspiracy theory that the industry dictates who's a star and what's a hit, that the industry picks and chooses who the next superstar is and what the next hit is. Because a lot of people has a pretty logical question, which is, if the industry chooses, then why wouldn't each label just do it for their own artist? Like, why will Warner Music just sit back and allow UMG to have Drake and Kendrick, the two biggest rap superstars of the last decade? Why wouldn't they make one of their artists Drake and Kendrick? That's a pretty good question, and that's a pretty logical question. But that question tells me they don't quite understand the formula and how these things work. Kanye West is about to put up $100 million to expose the formula and expose how all of this is a facade. This formula showcases how the labels choose who the next superstar is and what the next hit is. And it also answers the question that a lot of people have of, well, if the labels can just press a button and choose who the next superstar and artist is, then why wouldn't every label do it for their artist? This also explains that as well. But first, let's just understand what this formula is, okay? The impression is how many eyes see the material. So if I show your music to 100 people, that's the impression, right? 100 people is the impression. The conversion rate is how many people will click on your music and listen to it. So if I show your music to 100 people and your conversion rate is 10%, that means 10 people listen to your music and those are your sales. Say you have two artists who drop an album the same week with identical audience sizes, Artist A and Artist B. Artist A drops a phenomenal, really creative body of work that most people who hear it loves it. Artist B drops an album that's subpar, lacks creativity, is really some BS. They both have 100 followers across social media, and they both post their album link for their 100 followers to check it out. This is before any marketing dollars. Artist A posts their album link to their 100 followers because their music is really good and people really enjoy it. 50% of the 100 people who seen their link clicked on it. Their sales initially is 50. Artist B dropped really crappy music, really bad music that's not creative at all. They post their link to their 100 followers. Only 10% of people who seen the link clicked on it. So their sales initially is 10. Safe to say at this point, you'll probably agree. This is a pretty accurate model to determine what music is better. Artist A has the highest conversion rate. People is enjoying their music, which is why they are selling more. Now, plug in the marketing dollars and plug in unethical practices, then this entire formula becomes useless. What if Artist A label spent $100 more to increase the amount of people who view Artist A's music? So they spent $100 and they were able to get 100 more impressions. So 200 people seeing their music, 50% clicked on it. Their sales is now at 100. Their sales double. What if Artist B's label spent that same $100 to increase the impression for Artist B? However, they go a step further. They use their relationship to call up Spotify and say, hey, Spotify, put Artist B songs on every playlist you have and put Artist B on your front page. So when anybody open up your app, the first thing they see is Artist B album. In exchange, bruh, You owe us a certain percentage of his songs. We'll let you guys keep our percentage so you make a lot more money by having artists be on your platform. Spotify said, okay, just don't tell anybody, bro, because this is illegal. We got you, bro. You call up Apple Music, do the same agreement. Hey, Apple say, just don't tell nobody, bro, because that's illegal. I got you. Hey, radio, take some money under the table. Payola, play artist B's music in every time slot you have. We want my boy's song playing 24 hours a day. Radio said, we got you. Don't tell nobody though, because this is not allowed. Now, for that same $100, Artist B label was able to use unethical practices to increase the impressions and the people who seen the music to 10,000. So now Artist B, who makes significantly worse music with a conversion rate of 10%, now sold 1,000 copies first week. Now imagine a world where the social metric that people use to determine who is better or what song is hotter is sales. So now artist A, who has significantly better music and only sold 100 copies first week because they didn't use unethical practices, is being told their music is worse than artist B music, who use unethical practices to get a higher impression rate and a higher amount of people who view their music. Now, imagine a world where people were evil. I know, shocking, right? Imagine a world where evil agendas exist and people can use this pay-for-play plugin for their agenda. Now, imagine people is using more resources and unethical practices to increase the impression of, let's say, trap music and music that promotes violence and genocide over conscious music and music that promotes popularity. Imagine if people utilize this formula for evil opposed to good. Imagine the world we will live in. Yeah, the world we currently live in right now. And this is what we're talking about when we say, yo, you could spend the same amount of money. You can know the same amount of people. But it's that button that gets pushed, them calls that's made. That's the difference between somebody who's really good and somebody who's really bad. By their second album, the audience size is no longer the same. Because of the push from the first album, Artist B has a significantly larger fan base now. So now when they drop, Artist A has an audience of 500. Their conversion rate is still better. Their music is still better, but they're now selling 250. Artist B's audience is now 50,000. Conversion rate is still lower. Music is still trash, but now they're selling 5,000. And now Artist B is winning Grammys, is winning Billboard Awards. They're winning a lot of accolades. And now when the conversation gets started of who's better, Artist A or Artist B, people is laughing at anybody who will say that an Artist A who's only selling 250 copies first week is better than an artist selling 5,000 copies first week. And now Artist B becomes a superstar. And now you see other up-and-coming artists begin to imitate the uncreativity of Artist B because they see he's popping, he's winning, he's the one that people is listening to. And they begin to drift further away from the creativity and originality that Artist A is bringing. And this is how we get socially conditioned to appreciate foolery and trash. Kanye is saying, I'm going to show y'all how much numbers don't mean nothing. I'm going to show y'all how numbers is absolutely fake. Kanye West is pledging he's going to put $100 million to prove to people that the numbers is fake. Because for his new album, he's going to do exactly what the labels have been doing, but he's going to do it on steroids.
Bully is coming out the Bully album is coming out on June 15th. Yeah.
Have you done any DTC stuff, vinyls, fan packs, bundles, CDs, any of that? Not yet?
We sold vinyl though. We just haven't made the vinyl.
Okay, so you put it out on your website and you started selling.
Yeah, but that's just like 30,000 units or something like that.
First thing, the easiest thing for us, we gotta start buying. So like, when we do the pre-order, you see, okay, 2-3 years ago, right? Did you see anybody?
So if we could just buy them, and so is Morgan buying his stuff?
This is something, right? There. 2-3 years ago, did you see everyone start selling seeing how the CDs and vinyls out of nowhere?
Yeah. But how do I like beat the game?
This is how it's the CD.
But you don't beat the game by buying it.
You beat the game by the cause of the factor.
I think what I should do is do the opposite. You brought this idea, and I'm like, let's do the opposite idea. What I want to do is just put my shit up and like be like, okay, Yay sells 6,000 copies or whatever the fuck it is. You know, I don't want to sell 6. I want to do what Morgan Wallen has. I do. It's like you say, perception is reality. If I wanna buy into that, like who all wants to buy into that? Because once I start shifting stuff, start shifting. Right now, all musicians are being taken advantage of, and no one can do anything about it. And no musician likes the situation. Everyone knows that it's rigged. Everyone knows that it's unfair. And people are too afraid to put their music out without paying for the sales because they're too afraid of being embarrassed in front of their fans and their peers and their family and the world. So it's like we're being bullied. It's like embarrassment culture. So I think the idea of bully, to become a new bully, to be the school shooter to the bullies, is so what is that? Because you came here, it's not just going to be like, yay, just. Because if that's the case, what's the limit then? It's this weird thing too. It's like they know, it's like how they do street rappers, right? It's like, oh, we know that you're rapping about killing people. We know that you killed a couple people. We're documenting that, and we'll lock you up, but we need the J. Cole record from you first. And then, after that, you're done for life. Type shit. Well, same kind of mentality behind this whole, buying the records. Everyone's doing it, right? But what if I go and say, I'm a billionaire, I'm gonna sell 10 million the first week. I'm gonna buy the amount that would be, what is that? Is that $100 million?
That's $7.99 as the minimum.
Let's say if they were $10.
A lot, yeah, a lot.
No, what would be if it was $10 and I want to sell 10 million the first week?
10 million times 5, a lot.
No, if it was 10.
$10 is what you $100 million.
Okay, so say every time I say, look, I'm gonna drop 100 million, I'm gonna do Backstreet Boys numbers. The people that are saying to do it would say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
See, and now that's why I live this man. You're supposed to use every piece of skill set that's been given in you and use this platform that I have, these eyeballs that I have, and shift it to something that's better so we can get Lauryn Hill making an hour.
The best way to do this is probably not alerting Billboard before you do it. But if Kanye West is able to pull this off while letting the world know, and he's transparent about it, hey, bruh, we about to fake these sales. Y'all about to see somebody buy their way to 10 million copies first week. You're about to see somebody buy their ways to 1 million first week. Now, that could potentially just ruin the industry further by just having now these artists now want to start using their own money to pay their way to a number one. Or it could recondition the audience to think, oh, those numbers mean nothing now. And now the audience now begin to actually listen to the music. I don't know which direction it's gonna go. Because, for the longest, we have known, bro, that Travis Scott, and shout out to Travis Scott, bro, because I hate how people sort of they use Travis Scott as the mascot for this, when Taylor Swift and Morgan Wallen has been selling 1 million copies first week of just straight vinyls. But, Travis Scott has notoriously gamed the system.
The thing to mention when it comes to this rollout is the fact that tickets are on sale for this Egypt show along with album bundles. Now, these album bundles are set to include CDs, vinyls, but not only that, there are 5 different variations of the cover art for the album, meaning that there's 5 different versions of the vinyl and 5 different versions of the CD. Here's one of the covers that we're looking at now. I don't think most of the covers have actually been leaked. I think there's only this one and the one with Travis sort of looking up into the light like I think he might have posted. But the reason this is notable, folks, is not because it's cool to have 5 covers. You got to remember, that means a lot of production. That means a lot of money being spent into producing many, many different versions of this CD. So no move like this is just done on a whim. This is a business decision. And the reason this business decision is being made is to sell more album units. Now, if you go back to the Astroworld launch, you will remember that Nicki Minaj was furious at Travis Scott. Now, when Astroworld dropped, I believe it was end of 2017. So the 2 albums that were neck and neck for that number 1 spot were Nicki Minaj Queen and Travis Scott Astroworld. Those were the 2 records that were neck and neck. And they were close. They were really quite close. But the reason that Travis Scott took the number 1 spot in that album cycle is due to the bundles he was doing, because he was selling the Astroworld album with Astroworld merchandise.
Nicki Minaj was furious that Travis Scott was able to get the sales from his sweaters to count as album sales. She took the Queen radio and gave us quite possibly the greatest rant in hip-hop history.
Whole nigga of the week, of course, is Travis Scott. Woo! Travis Scott on Thursday, when he realized the Queen was about to have the number 1 album in America, he and his label decided to have Kylie and baby Stormy put up a tour pass. He had her go and post and say, hey, me and Stormy can't wait to see y'all. How are you selling something that does not have anything to do with your album, but is being counted on Billboard as album sales? But what we not gonna do is have this auto-tune man coming up here selling sweaters and telling y'all he sold 500,000 albums, because he didn't. And it's a lot of rappers behind the scene that want to talk about it, and they're scared. But sweetheart, I'm not scared. I'm legendary in these streets. I'm legendary in these streets. I'm legend.
Billboard, to me, hasn't done enough to fix the issue. But Billboard, for the most part, I can't say with good conscience that they're complicit. Billboard has taken some steps to try to limit how artists can manipulate it. I believe at some point they did say, hey, listen, you have to have a bundle option and an individual CD option, right? For them to actually buy the CD or buy the merch. But you can't just have the merch as the only option. So now people is coming to your store to buy only merch, but then you put the album within the merch. No, you have to have an option for them to buy the album, to buy the album independently. And then you have other things they've also put in place. Like, for example, people actually have to redeem the link. So if you're selling the merch with the album link, people actually have to click on the link and redeem the album on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. They actually have to redeem it for it to count. So Billboard has been putting steps in place, but it's still a huge issue, man. Like The Weeknd, when it was becoming 100% certain that Gunna was going to outsell him, and that was kind of like an egg on Weeknd's face, because he was considered like in the tier of like Drake and Kendrick, and people were even saying, yo, Weeknd and Michael Jackson. So for him to get outsold by Gunna, right, like a regional street rapper, people felt like this was really embarrassing, and Weeknd's team did everything in their power to make sure that it didn't happen, right? But it didn't work. Like, they try to, like, last minute, try to, like, give Billboard, like, sales of, like, 8,000 vinyls to put them over the edge by, like, 1,000. It didn't work, and Billboard rejected it. So there has been instances where Billboard has been proactive in making sure that the integrity of their Billboard sales is still there, but it's still a huge issue. And if Kanye West is able to really put $100 million into this and to sell 1 million copies for his week or 10 million copies for his week and show the people that, yo, numbers mean nothing, it's a pay-for-play system, yo, this would destroy the industry, bro. It would destroy it. But I don't feel like, like Kanye West putting $100 million towards this, man, may be a lofty goal, okay? Y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, all right? Do y'all feel like Kanye West doing this would destroy the industry? Do you guys feel like Kanye West would do this? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, all right? And if you're still watching, click on this video right here on my screen to find out how Aaron the Plumber is calling the police on Whack 100 after he got exposed. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.